So, welcome to Adam Walks Australia, the Tasmania edition. Here I am. Now I'm saying something. Something about being in Tasmania. No doubt humorous. That's what it looks like from the air. I'm saying some more stuff. I'm very pleased with myself, aren't I? If you're not a fan of your own work, how do you expect other people to be? I went on to tell some ridiculous joke about Devonport being named after the cold cut meat Devon. It's, hopefully nobody took it seriously, if they did hear the joke. And I continue on. I'm walking along the foreshore now. These giant stacks, I believe that's where they cook the bread that serves Devonport. And this is the Devonport Museum of Contemporary Art. It's located near the historic bridge that connects the two sides of Devonport together. The Spirit of Tasmania used to leave from Sydney, and it also used to leave from Melbourne. Now it only has one location, which is in Geelong. I stopped to make a point that perhaps if they made the ship to fit more than 3 vehicles, that Spirit of Tasmania would have been far more profitable and would have been able to stay in Sydney. Across the bridge here, not really sure why the camera's bouncing up and down. Maybe I had a spring in my step and a zest for life at that moment. What I can say is it was much better weather than previously in South Australia during the summer. Do 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 do. Looking back to where I came, because it's important to remember where you come from. Don't be fooled by the walks that I've done. I'm still Adam having fun. I used to walk a little, now I walk a lot, and I know where I came from. Better be quick, because I sold a joke about that being the Spirit of Tasmania. That was hilarious. And finally, I'm walking through the very last supermarket for a few days. So I went in there and stocked up. Big mistake was I went and bought some salami. And gee, that smelt at night time. Not great if you're trying to keep the critters away. So here I am, engorging myself on some delicious ice cream that was half price. And here's going to be the bane of my existence for the first 10 to 15 days. That's where I started. I've been walking for an hour and 10 minutes, about 6 Ks, and I'm only 300 metres from where I start. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is I'm going to have to walk in and around the inlets quite often, and that's unfortunate. I was planning on maybe swimming across Port Sorrel, Lake Sorrel, Inlet Sorrel. I'll get back to that in a second. Here's a crop circle I stumbled upon. I believe the message was that I need to start a cult. It wasn't a direct message, it was more like something cold, but I think maybe they misspelt cult, so that's something to look forward to in future years. Back to what I'm talking about. Yeah, I went and spoke to a local when I got into Devonport, and he suggested I don't swim across Port Sorrel because there is a shark nursery there. Here's a ship leaving the heads. It's going very slow, which is good. Have you ever seen those clips on YouTube of boats in Florida going through the channels far too fast, causing wake and millions of dollars of damage to boats? Yeah, that captain's smart enough not to do that. This is, what's his name? A John something walk. That's a memorial. My apologies to you, John, for not knowing the name of the walk. And as I slowly head out of Devonport, the path gets steadilier, gets worse and worse. And this next clip here, I'm walking alongside the Devonport airport. Nice and crunchy underneath. I've picked up 2 rocks that I'll send back to my mama. I like to collect, as long as it's not a sacred site of importance all over the world, I do collect rocks when I can, and I give them to my mum. It's a way of her participating in my adventures without being able to be there with me. I figure this algae growing on these rocks is just as good as the Bay of Fires, but I guess we'll see when I finally get around to it. Just went on and on and on and on and on. Not complaining, this was lovely and soft. I guess it's kind of like what Mount Vesuvius, what's that area, Pompeii, it would have been like walking through Pompeii the week after Mount Vesuvius. Vesuvius exploded. You ever see the two entombed bodies hugging each other in Mount Vesuvius? Yeah, those two set a pretty high standard for romance in the modern era. Kept together for thousands of years. You enjoying this commentary? Let me know. I'm just giving you an insight into the internal monologue that is Adam. Here we are, this is what I was talking about. Squishy, squishy, squishy. Closest I can relate it to is, remember before we actually cared about the environment, we had boxes and they'd fill them with styrofoam. I was singing at this point, that's why the birds left. They're not a fan of flat and out of tune singers. I'm saying something ridiculous, no doubt, thinking that it's witty at the time. Very pleased with myself, look at me. Very pleased. Day is coming to an end. It was about 8:30, 9 o'clock here. And once the night starts to close in, I slowly start to look for a place that will be safe to spend the night. Make sure there's no military bases around or animals that will eat or attack me. I have heard that there is the occasional uncorroborated sighting of Tasmanian tigers in the northeast, so that's something I'm looking forward to, being the first person to find it and prove that it exists still. That will be my great claim to fame and a reason why I am not forgotten within 3 generations. I don't use filters on any of my footage, I just show you how it is. I just use this channel as a diary, so when I look back when I'm a little old man at what I got up to, I'll remember. My first day walking around Tasmania is drawing to a close. I've still got to find somewhere to spend the night. And while I plan and think about that, I just want to say thank you for joining me. I'll see you next episode. And I love you all.